It's insane to see, how fast people can come into this business and literally just change their lives when they commit to something, and they understand that this is something that's bigger than you, it's bigger than me, and it really can change, like it changed the whole game for me.
All right, everybody, Grady Paulson here, Family First Live America. Beyond excited to have Matthew Stuppiello III on with us, who's in his 5th month, is that correct?
Yes.
5th month. In his 1st month, just so you know who you're dealing with, he wrote 53 families in his 1st month, and now has made that a habit, great habit to have, and is trending between 50 and 60 families per month. Loves selling insurance. He'll talk about the changes he's made as a person. But we also have Troy Cassidy on with us as well, whom is a Hall of Fame producer and is currently leading a team doing over 400,000 issue paid per month. All around great guys, and both, just, because we got to, I guess we don't need to say it, but it makes me look better. Or it actually makes me look terrible because you guys are so young. How old are you both?
25.
25 years old.
25 as well.
25 years old. Got the whole world ahead of you. At 25, just for clarity on what you could do if you screwed up, the whole thing you screwed up and then you figured it out again later in life. I believe I was serving tables at Kona Grill at Scottsdale Fashion Square at 25. And I was happy as heck. Life was great. But, to be running the numbers you guys are doing at 25, going to eat wherever you want and driving whatever you want and living wherever you want. Oh man, I'm so proud of you guys. And we're just getting started. So let's do it. Let's do it for, why don't we do, I love your story. We could start with Matt, Troy jump in, but then I kind of want to break out and kind of have maybe segment with Matt, has some with Troy, but you guys are, tell us your background just so people kind of see what it's like. Hey, do you have any friends that are ambitious? Maybe you should call them and tell them about this opportunity. And that's kind of maybe give a little preclude to what you guys are going to share.
100%.
You want to start us off?
Yeah. I grew up, the same town. I played Pop Warner with Troy Cassidy at Carlsbad Pop Warner. So we're in 1st grade, touching a football for the first time. Dad's on the field coaching. It was ridiculous. And fast forward, we both play college. I kind of disconnected a little bit, kept communication, and kind of my story here is I played a little bit of college football, really was an athlete. That was really my identity. Played at Cal Poly in California, kept kind of pushing along. I wanted to be an athlete, kept school kind of in my back pocket. I always was focused on it, kind of both ways, good student. And then COVID hit. I'm like, damn, I'm still playing college football here. I have an extra year. They just keep giving me eligibility. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go get my master's, transfer out. And I played a year in South Dakota, got my MBA over there, ended up suffering a pretty crazy knee injury. So I ended up relocating again, got an extra year. Now it's going to be my 6th year in college. I'm just living the life, being complacent, thinking everything's going to be all right, just kind of wasting time. Get over to Florida. I was going to go play another year over there. Realized, hey, this knee thing, it really took me out. It kind of changed my entire identity here. And about a year before that, I hopped on the phone with Troy. So I was thinking about stopping playing. He played at San Diego State. We were pretty like-minded. And I was like, hey, man, what was it like stopping playing? What was life after being an athlete? Did you want to go to the NFL? Because, that's all we knew at that time. And I know Troy was transitioning, and I want to see where his head was at. And we spoke after not speaking for a couple years, really, for about 2-3 hours on the phone, just about life, about everything. And I was like, there's no way God just made me have this inclination to call Troy out of nowhere and speak to him about this opportunity for so long. And he was talking then, he was living in San Marcos doing hot air balloons before he was getting into it. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to go run it up with our friend D Nilly, and we're gonna get a crib in Arizona. We're gonna have a bunch of new agents fly out. We're gonna blow this thing up. I was like, yeah, dude, sounds cool, I guess. Wasn't really buying it. Believed in him always, but obviously it sounds way too good to be true. Then I'm in Florida. I realize, hey, football's not going to work out. I really can't run. I'm pretty down, and I lost my whole identity. Finished my master's international business, had like a corporate job lined up, doing some international consulting, and Troy just kept texting me, calling me, sending me bank statements. I'm like, dude, I've known you since first grade. Why are you trying to scam me into this? Like, what is this pyramid scheme we're getting into? Like, I'm about to make $100,000, man. I'm good. You can't tell me anything. Like, and I was like bartending at the time, waiting for it, finishing my last couple courses, and they had a lock-in over Fort Lauderdale. If you guys are familiar with lock-ins, I show up. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm just gonna show up, kind of see what's going on. I miss you, bro. So I show up, see Troy, see Dean Illy, guys I haven't seen in a long time. I meet Bowen, some other top guys in the business, and within 5-10 minutes, I'm like, all right, this is something's going on here. So I'm like, at this point, dude, just show me some bank statements. Like, show me what we're working with. And about 5 minutes later, I quit my job and I was all in. I saw something. I was like, I'm going to make this happen. These people are making money. These people are making way more money than I could even imagine with this corporate trying to climb a ladder. I said, look, I'm 24 at the time. I'm going all in. So I was about to get another crazy knee surgery at the time. And I was like, look, I'm not even gonna be able to work for a while. I'm going to be on my bed for all day. I mean, this is it. So I flew out to Arizona immediately, passed my test, and here we are. That's kind of how I got into it.
What was the date you moved out here?
I just moved out here actually about a month ago,
Okay.
but I was in the process of like getting out of my lease. So, I mean, immediately from that time, 2 weeks later, I was contrasted on a flight out here. I stayed for a month. I had like 4,000 in my bank account. I flew out here. I was like 3,000 down before I got my first deposit. And I was like selling a bunch of business. I was like, Troy, like, dude, is this even real right now? Like, I'm just spending money. I got nothing. Like, where am I? And then it just started taking off from there.
So you to hear that, like, people go, I could never move my whole family, or I could never jump at an opportunity. I mean, like, to challenge that, like, if you're at a place, whether you're married or not, kids or not, and life isn't working out the way you planned, you really can't afford not change, right? You can't afford not to change and do something different. Just because Matt's 25 and no wife and kids and dude, what did you play in football?
I played strong safety nickelback.
So you just rocked people. That was so
Yeah, I'm a 5'9" white dude. I was coming downhill quick.
So
I gave it my best though, like I was an underdog in everything. I was always an underdog playing D1 football, kind of an undersized DB. And I realized like this opportunity, there's no favorites. There's no political, there's nothing like that. You come in, you do the work, you're going to get rewarded immediately. And that was my favorite aspect about this, because it doesn't matter. It's so relatable to football because you're in the weight room, you're doing everything. But there's guys that, I mean, they don't even work out. They eat McDonald's every day. They run a 4.4 and they're shredded 6-pack and they look like gods. They're just meant to go there. Some people are meant to do different things. And this business allows people of any stature, anything, that if you have work ethic, if you have drive, if you have the goal and ambition to be great and you want something more for yourself, there's truly nothing stopping you.
Amen, bro. Amen. Troy, I mean, that was good. Top that, bro. It's what I want people to meet you though too. So let's back up and then maybe we'll find where that crossroads is of where you were prospecting, Matt. I mean, because your story is a little similar but different. I love your story and the balloons. I won't.
The good old balloons, man. Yeah, and real quick, I just want to thank you for having me on the pod. Like, this is an awesome opportunity. I'm super grateful. And Stoops, I want to thank you because you have changed and set a new standard and a new bar for what's possible in this business. And I know for everyone who's listening on this call, a lot of the new agents, you heard Matt's story, but you don't know where his head was at when he first got into the business and everything that led up to it, and the mind space and where he was at in life. And I knew that this was an opportunity. I saw what it was doing for me, and in my life and what the potential that it had for what I want to do for my parents, retiring them, what I want to do for my future wife and kids and family that I want to have. And I was just like, bro, we were running the elementary school basketball court together. And, that's the dopest part about this opportunity. I had another guy, just not to get off track, but I was on Zoom with him this morning and it's his first full day dialing. Another dude who Matt and I got to grow up with in San Diego, and he's just getting started and he made his first sale this morning. And after this, we're getting right back on and we're ripping the phones. And it's insane to see, how fast people can come into this business and literally just change their lives when they commit to something. And they understand that this is something that's bigger than you, it's bigger than me. And it really can change, it changed the whole game for me. And so I knew when I saw this dude and he was bartending and he was going through the transition of being that athlete, that football player, and that identity that you have your entire life, everything you've ever worked for, and then you hang up the cleats and you're finally done. It's insane, the feeling, like it's hard to describe. But once that identity is stripped away from you, it's like, dude, what else am I going to do now? Like what is life without football? Like that's all I've ever known. That's all I've ever worked towards. And it can be super hard. People go into depression. People go into, I don't know, all sorts of different paths, life after football. And, to be able to present an opportunity to not only my friends, but a dude like Matt, who was kind of in a headspace where he wasn't, very happy. He was sleeping in every day. He wasn't really working out. He was doing other things that we don't even need to get into. And he comes into this and you just see a complete 180. I mean, that's like making a sale is cool. Making $1,000 is cool. Making a $2,500 commission, like it's sick. But bringing my best friends and the people that I love, like even some of my family, my older sister's in this business. She's starting to crush it. My parents used to be in the business. My mom's kind of getting back in and we're getting her dialed in. She made a couple sales back when she first got started. But seeing what it does for people, not just financially, but what this business can do for you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the ways that it will challenge you unlike any other business. It's like, that's where my passion is now. Yeah. And seeing what it does for other people's lives, it's just incredible. And I don't know, I fall in love with this business more and more, like the longer that I'm in it and the more people I bring in. And it's insane. To touch a little bit though on my story and where I come from. I mean, I was brought in by D Nilly. No one really knows his first name. We all call him D Nilly. It's Devin Nilsson. And it came at a time where I was working at a hot air balloon company for the past year and a half after football, still trying to find my way. I knew I didn't want to do like a corporate route, just because I like, my biggest fear in life is waking up and I'm 30, 33, 35. And I look back on my 20s and I'm working this salary job where I was just slowly, incrementing up climbing my way up the ladder, and just looking back, like, why did I not take advantage of the opportunity to bet on myself while I was young in my 20s. Like I just did not, I was not going to be the person to do that. So when he called me up and he was like, bro, I just passed my life insurance test. I was like, all right, man, that's sick. What's that all about? And he gets me on the phone with Bowen. He's like, honestly, I don't know what it's about. Here's Bowen though. He's the owner of the agency, and he wants to chat with you a little bit. So I chat with Bowen. Everything sounded too good to be true. I'm like, I don't know if this is legal. The numbers y'all are throwing at me are insane. And it sounded like some Wolf of Wall Street type of stuff. And I was just like, dude, everything you're saying sounds incredible. Like I'm ready to get rolling. It was literally like, show me some bank statements, and same with Matt. And I quit my job and I work for you. And the rest is kind of history. I put my 2 weeks in. I scheduled my test right after that phone call. Put my 2 weeks in at the hot air balloon gig, and made sure I parted ways well with them, and I enjoyed my time there. And it helped me to realize and understand my worth and what I'm capable of, because I was working just as hard over there. I was working 60, 70-hour weeks sometimes during busy season when we're flying in the mornings and in the afternoons. And we're up obviously before sunrise because it's a sunrise flight, evening, it's a sunset flight in San Diego. And I was kind of running the show. I was just like managing. You could kind of imagine some of the carnies and degenerates that are, a part of hot air balloon crews. So I was just the dude with a degree that played college football, and I was able to build a relationship with the manager and start kind of running things. But that's really where I found like that life after football, like purpose for myself, I guess. The ability to manage some like a business of my own and not really have something corporate, kind of something just different. And that's what this opportunity has provided me, just something different than anything that I've ever done or heard of. And I never, like, I would have told you 2 years ago that if, I'd be selling life insurance, I'd call you crazy, and I'd probably, I don't know, I'd say that's insane. I'm never doing that. But it's just, I don't know, it's incredible.
I love it, man. I mean, it's a lot of similarities and differences, but you're ambitious people. You want more out of life, didn't know where to go. You had a friend that reached out, that took a leap of faith. That friend got uncomfortable. In your example is D. Nilly. In Matt's example, it was you. And in many people's examples, it's something. I have many people that I'd imagine yourself. You have people you reached out to that said, is this a scam, or it's a pyramid scheme, or I don't want to do that. Dude, I'm making 100 grand now. I'm totally fine. I don't, I'm good, bro. Like, now granted, you're living in South Florida. 100 grand is like 30 grand. So, I mean, but you probably show up at this lock-in, bunch of cool dudes, probably beautiful house, and you're like, okay, these guys rented this spot to sell life insurance. And all of a sudden you start putting it together, and it's a sales organization. We make sales, we solve problems, we facilitate requests of coverage from people that asked us to help them. And that's the beauty of life insurance. The reality of most businesses don't have leads. Mortgage people have some referral-based systems from realtors. Realtors have no leads. They got to cultivate their own interest. Now, granted, you can look at like pest and solar. They're going to cultivate some level of leads, but the ability for life insurance to talk about final expense or mortgage protection or IUL or whole or term annuities, and be able to market to a base of people, and then we buy the interest. Like, that's the beauty. That's where our business differentiates so many others, that we're able to purchase interest. I'm interested in insurance. How much for that interested person? Well, I make X commission, which is significantly can compensate myself for the investment in the ROI I placed, which is why, sharp people get this. They go, this makes sense. Now, the problem is you've got to work, right? You're going to get beat up on the phones when you start. You're going to get told no. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to doubt the system. You're going to doubt Bowen. You're going to doubt everything that you've ever seen. And the reality is, it's just the only person sitting there looking in the mirror is the one that needs to make those decisions to keep working. So it's just, you guys are a testament to your own self and to your own desires to push through and to create better lives. So I applaud you both, and excited to see what you've done today and do the empire that Matt's going to build with his story. I mean, this is why I call it the best business ever. I think I figured that out 5-6 years ago. I'm like, this is the best business ever. So, all right, well, let's dig into some nuts and bolts, right? So I'd love to dig into, we'll start with Matt. Leads, right? That's obviously the cornerstone. I mean, getting your license, technology, where everyone's doing virtual now. We lived in a world, go back a few years, where everybody ran in person. And now, people are comfortable buying insurance, purchasing things. I just bought a car through text message. I mean, it's like the world has become far more trusting in a virtual manner, and that's okay. Let's meet it there and let's move faster. So Matt, you come into the business, you're clearly need to work virtual because you're recovering from a surgery. Let's talk about leads, maybe initial investment, now to weekly investment, and then what are your top 1, 2, 3 types?
Yeah, 100%. Before I tap into that, I want to say, like, trust your process and your journey on your life, because I genuinely don't think, like, I could have looked at my knee and been like, hey, this situation sucks. I'm done. I don't want to do anything, and just completely crumbled, which I kind of was. And when this presented myself, I knew, hey, God did this for a reason, to allow me to dive fully deep into something and find fully what I was born to do. So if something's going on in your life right now, and everybody goes through things, take that as, hey, everything is truly happening for a reason, and you're going to get to where you need to be. You just got to trust it and don't never fold. I don't care if you get pocket 2 and 7, you can't fold. But lead spend. So I came in the business, and I I was living paycheck to paycheck. Like I had a job lined up, whatever. I was still thought I was making decent money. I mean, I maybe had like 10 grand in my bank account. And um I show up and I'm like, Troy, dude, what do I have to do? Like, do I really buy leads? He gave me some silver leads to run. I dialed for hours and I made them work. Like I remember hearing that dial tone, and I was so like discouraged in the beginning for the first like hour or two. No one answered. I mean, 2 hours straight. And then I continued to dial and dial and dial, where I just fell in love with that ringtone, where I was like, dude, I love it. Like I need this. When I hear that voicemail, like, you better not pick up the phone because you're about to spend some money. So I got pissed off for greatness in that aspect. And um like I would literally, for the first month, I would dial so hard I wouldn't eat until I got a sale in the morning. But literally, my stomach's like touching my back. I'm starving for bread. Like I need more. I need a sale. And I started realizing like your leads are literally your business. Like you can't expect to spend $100 and make $10,000 a month, or spend whatever and get that. So first week, I think I spent maybe $500. 2 weeks, I spent um again, maybe like 500, something like that.
On
Third
age,
week and on.
just trying to get reps on age leads. Just
Yeah,
old,
exactly.
as many as you can get, as cheap as you can get them, because you're trying to get the reps.
Exactly. Because like we say it all the time in our kind of agency over here, it's a race to 100 presentations. Like you're not going to just spend a bunch of money and just blow these leads because you don't know what to do. It's not the leads, it's you. And you need to be able to train yourself and get all of these repetitions, just like football or sports. You need mental reps. You need to listen to presentations. You need to literally be waking up, reading your script in a dream, like just dreaming about making a sale. So then I started realizing I'm ready to go. I've failed so many times. I know exactly what they're going to say, and I know what I'm going to say before they're even done saying it because I've heard it so many times. $1,000 a week, non-negotiable. If you want to make money, I'm spending literally $1,000 a week from probably my second to third week in the business, nothing less, because I know I'm going to 10x my money or make a bunch of more money off it because I trust in myself and my skills. That's like literally your business. There's no, I mean, I might up it to 2,000. Like once you know you have that skill, you can't be afraid to spend the money because and you're way more inclined to keep dialing and dialing and dialing. I'm dialing a lead until they answer the phone. That lead is not dead until they block me. And then I'll call them off 4 different numbers. Like I need to get the most out of these leads, and I'm spending a lot of money on leads. And I got to the point where I need more higher intent leads because I trust that I can buy ethos, or I can buy AG, those $18 leads, or $25 leads, $30, whatever it is, because then my skills and I'm honed in to actually make that money.
It's awesome. Perfect. So the 3 lead choices are ethos, and what else? What else you like?
I mean, I'll run instant with Benny's. I'll run ethos. I'm starting to try to tap into, I mean, for the first couple months, I mean, I wrote 50K off fresh ethos. I strictly bought fresh ethos, 20 on Monday, 20 on Wednesday, 20 on Friday, and whatever on Saturday. And I'd sprinkle in whatever, like try a bunch of new lead vendors, trying to figure out what works. And then now I'm trying to really tap into like generating my own leads on Facebook and kind of get into that aspect. I don't care how much I need to spend because I know it's all going to pay off in the end. You find a good lead vendor, you make it run. I never recommend just having one. Like if you're only running ethos and there's not ethos that day, you got to be able to tap into something else, whether that's mortgage leads like Clever Closers that you have, or ARIA leads or anything like that. You need to try everything to be able to know what's good for me and what's going to continue to work. Like you said when we got on the call earlier, if something's not going right for you, figure it out. You gotta find other things that see what work. But if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What at this point in few months into the business. How many states are you licensed in now?
About 20, I would say.
Is that kind of cool though? Like people are like, how do I have to take 19 more tests? And you're like, no, it's awesome. You just pay a fee and then you get the license later that day.
Yeah. I feel like getting leads in states, like you got to have each time zone. You got to be able to run the clock. If you want to wake up in the morning, you can't just wake up at 6 or 7 and start dialing California. Like people are gonna, I don't even know if that's legal to be honest, but they're gonna answer pissed, or they're just gonna ignore your call. You're gonna burn the leads. So you got to be able to migrate across the country. Wake up if you're on the West Coast, dial the East Coast, dial Central, dial Mountain, dial Pacific. So you're hitting all these time zones you can actually dial all day. And then different states, dude, different people are gonna like you. Like you might call someone Oklahoma. I kill it in Oklahoma. I love people. They're way nicer. Instead of calling people in like, I don't know, New York, or we don't even dial New York, New Jersey. They're gonna answer, they're gonna hit me with an accent, they're gonna be pissed. I don't have an accent. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
it's whatever works for you, really.
it's great, bro. All right, Troy. So you hit Hall of Remind me when you joined us. You hit Hall of Fame last year. I know that.
Yep.
What did you issue last year?
415 range.
That's it. Hey, 400 and a penny, and you got the red jacket, bro. That's all that matters. If the nose touches the white line, it's a touchdown. So you're in. It's a football reference for if anyone, there we go. You guys got it. Okay, so 415. You ran. I would love to know, like, as an elite producer, which we would call you, someone that's consistently putting up 30, 35, 40 plus. What do you run now? What have you evolved to as a top producer? What is your kind of lead flow?
So Ethos made me
Okay.
the producer that I am today. When they first came out a little over a year ago, like February of last year, I was one of the first people in like Bowen's entire agency to give them a shot. And what I noticed is the quality of the person I was talking to, was the biggest pro to that type of lead, because the intent's there, and really for me, and what I tell my new agents that I bring on, and I always have them start with silvers, because I want you to start silvers, gold, bronze, like whatever, any of those, because they're cheaper. You can get quantity, and new agents just need presentations, whether it's a good lead, a bad lead, like whatever. You still have another human on the other end of the phone, and we need to develop the skills that it takes to just learn how to talk to someone and learn how to rebuttal those early objections that you're going to get, where with an Ethos lead or a higher intent, more expensive lead, you might not get I don't remember filling that out, or some of the other objections that you are going to get with a silver lead. But it's what builds it's what makes you the producer that you are, down the road. And with the Ethos leads, I think it's funny that Matt mentioned, dabbling in different states. For me, I was licensed in California, and I was familiar with the area, and I like to connect with people. And for me, it was like a comfort zone almost. I didn't want to like expand out, and I would buy a ton of California Ethos leads. And if you're buying any type of lead in Los Angeles County, you're gonna have some fun. I don't know if it's just big city life. People are more compact. They're angrier people. They're just, they're not the most friendly. So that will definitely test you and develop your skills. And
there's a lot of them though. That's the problem. There's just very tempting. It's like South Chicago. Yeah. There's a lot of ones, and there's a lot of Cook County leads out there, and you're like, hold your breath before you start dialing. It's gonna.
Oh yeah. No, you're gonna get on the phone with some people that are just, they'll go nuts. But you have to find comfort in that. Like, you can't take it personal. And then, once I started expanding to different states, I learned pretty quick. I was like, wow, like people in the Midwest, people in the South, like I'm having a good time talking with these people. And then I'll throw a little twang on myself. I'll tap into a little Texas, like a little Southern accent. If I'm calling a New Jersey lead, I'll talk with the New Jersey accent. We all remember D. Neely's story where he sent some lady a cannoli, and we were cracking up. I was sitting right next to him when he was doing it. I was like, this is insane. Like, what am I watching right now? he just DoorDashed a lady a cannoli, and now she's calling him back like, you are the coolest person I have ever met. And so that's something that will always stick with me. But I mean, when it comes down to it, like I try to instill the belief in what it is that we're doing, and the ability that you have once you get the reps and you overcome the objections. And so many people are, you know, and myself included, like so eager to start dialing and just get on the phones. And I mean, it, like, you have to practice, you have to role play. I know everyone says it's your race to your first 100 presentations, but I tell people, like, what about your race to your first 100 role plays? Because you could start, you know, you can follow the footsteps that I took, and you could spend thousands of dollars just to break even your first couple months in the business. And I mean, factor in that we didn't have the structure and the systems that we have now, and the proof of concept and the leaders that we have on, you know, that are in Bowen's agency and here in the Arizona office, to where we can get people like Matt into the business with no prior experience in sales or insurance at all, and they can come in and write 57 grand their second full month in the business. Like, that's unheard of. Like, people were not doing that when I first came into this opportunity. And so, you know, I like role playing with new agents. Those are free reps, and we have a lot of different ways that we teach new agents to role play. And we make it really tough, because that's where, like, you, and just to relate it to like sports and football, it's, you know, practice is what builds the character, what builds your team towards championships. You know, you're not just going to get on the phones or get in the game and know what to do. And I mean, yeah, you need those live reps, but you can come so far, and you can realize how much you need to work on when you're actually getting the reps and practice and the role play. And so that's why we have role play rooms designated for new agents literally all day long. Like, you know, hit the new role play room. There's a couple new agents in there pretty much all day long, and they're just getting active in there.
Yeah. The broken mentality of some people is that the opportunity is so good, I'll just put money in and I'll get money out, right? I spent $1,000 on leads. Why am I not closing them all? Why is this so hard? Listen, the opportunity is fantastic. You still have to develop a skill set, right? They're leads. They're not sales. We have to communicate and convert them. And so I love how you have role play rooms. You race to your first 100 role plays. One of the things I always tell people is to even write out, which is what elite speakers and elite presenters do, is they hand write out their speech, or they hand write out their word tracks or objections. Just say a presentation, because oftentimes people will be like, well, I'll just record it, and they'll hold their phone out, or they'll film it and they'll think that they're filming it and getting the value. And the reality, though, is, or they'll type it. And what I learned in listening to professionals over the years is that your body doesn't know what it's doing when it's recording or typing. It only knows what it's doing when I'm instructing it to DIALTHEPHONE. When I'm instructing my body to write out the words and write out the letters, like, you're subconsciously impregnating the actual memory. Then you're not just, you know, having sound waves go through your brain. And so when you do that with your agents, make them actually role play and say the words, they're forming, like, you know, connecting synapses and dendrites, or whatever the things are in our brains that like form memory in our amygdala or whatever. Is it amygdala? I think it's amygdala. Yeah. Yeah. So you pulled that on my shorts. But then that's why you hand write. So I always have agents, I'm like, hand write out your script. And that way you're just putting yourself in a position, then read your own handwriting. And I mean, whose handwriting do you read the most in life? Your own. Whose words, you know? So it just kind of gives that form of comfort. But I love how you guys do it, because it's just, you got to say it. You got to learn how to hit them with an objection. Yes, exactly. I think that's a bank policy where it's more like an accidental. Were you looking for real coverage, or did you want permanent coverage, something you own it's private, that you have, not something that your company owns, right? You just learn, you do the objections enough and it becomes automatic. So I love it. All right, let's go
real quick. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, like, I dialed with a handwritten script. Yeah, I mean, most of it was typed out, but a lot of handwritten lines, and, you know, I'd make adjustments, and I dialed with that my first 7 months in the business.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's probably not a lot of people that could say they did that, because, you know, once you have it kind of memorized, you know, you're kind of off the script, and a lot of people want to, you know, have that pride of like, I got it memorized, I got it down. But I was like, the people that I'm on the phone with, they can't see me. So why would I not use every cheat code available to me? Why would I not have my script in front of me? If I'm not, you know, down the phones and I'm blanking out on something, I have my script in front of me where I can read, you know, tie the conversation if it went off track back into my script. Not just my script though. I mean, I had objections written out. I had rebuttals written out, taped on my wall behind my laptop in my bedroom. Like everything was dialed in so I could just focus on the phone call and focus on the client rather than trying to think and clicking on tabs and going to my script and, oh, I just got hit with an objection, I got to go over here. And then you lose the lead and you can't, you're just unorganized. It's like I wanted everything set up and dialed in to where, because it's like at the end of the day, not only you don't want to lose out on an opportunity to make money, but at the same time, if you're not prepared and you let a family down that really needed life insurance and they might, you know, wait another couple of years or not even get it in place. And, you know, we got to practice what we preach. Like tomorrow isn't promised. And we're on the phones telling these people, you know, we're talking about death and their families and like, what does that look like? And we're trying to paint the picture, but we're not, you know, we're not preparing enough on our end to serve that family. And if we do a disservice to them, like that's financial catastrophe that we're leaving on the table. And I don't know, when you have that kind of mindset about it, it changes the way that you want to prepare and you want to dial, and it just changes the seriousness about what it is that we're actually doing.
Yeah. Something to add right to that is like I like to relate it like a lot to sports. If you're an ex-athlete or anything listening to this, like it's all about if you line up at DB or receiver or something like that, or baseball or anything, and you know the play and you watch film, it's all about getting ready for the pre-snap. Like if he goes this way, what am I going to do? If he goes that way, what is he going to do? Same thing with your objections. You got them laid out in front of you. You got the script in your mind where you got everything laid out. Your organization is key. If she says this, I'm going to say this. If he says that, I'm going to say this, just so you prepare to win. You can't win when the true meaning of success is when opportunity meets preparation. You have to have the opportunity, but you have to be prepared to do so, to win that call, bless that family, and ultimately get paid.
I love it. The mentor always taught me, he said, you might be the only person they ever talk to about life insurance. Don't let them down.